To some, he was a voice for truth, a defender of faith and freedom. To others, a symbol of controversy and division. But behind the headlines, beyond the noise, he was a man driven by conviction, and at the heart of it all, his faith. That man was Charlie Kirk. Now, before I continue, let me make one thing clear. I am not a man of politics. I don't follow politics, I follow Christ. And before making this video, I didn't know who Charlie was or what he believed in. But by the end of the story, I'll share what I discovered and what it taught me. But with all that being said, my name is Steve, and this is LCS. If you enjoyed this video and channel, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And so with all that being said, here we go. Charlie grew up in a Christian home, one rooted in strong moral values and faith in God, and as a teenager he developed an early passion for politics, but even more than that, for purpose. And at just 18 years old he founded Turning Point USA, a conservative youth organization meant to educate students about limited government, free markets, and faith-driven values. And what began as a small student effort quickly exploded into one of the largest youth movements in America. Charlie's message resonated with millions. He called young people to think for themselves, stand boldly, and never be ashamed of their beliefs, especially their belief in God. And as his platform grew, so did the criticism. Mainstream outlets often painted him as divisive, and his opponents accused him of fueling political polarization. But Charlie never wavered. Through his podcasts, his books, and his tireless speaking tours, Charlie became one of the most recognizable conservative voices in America. His faith guided him. His mission, he believed, was part of a larger plan. But sadly, it would all come to an end. On September 10th, 2025, during an outdoor speaking event in Utah, tragedy struck. As Charlie spoke to a crowd of students about faith, freedom, and responsibility, a shot rang out. He was hit by a sniper's bullet, a senseless act of violence that stunned the nation. And despite immediate medical attention, Charlie passed away that evening at just 31 years old, leaving behind his wife and children. His final moments were spent doing what he loved most, speaking to young people about truth, courage, and conviction. Across the nation, many mourned his passing, and supporters gathered by the tens of thousands to remember him in their own hometowns and at his funeral. And not just as a political figure, but as a man of faith. Tributes poured in from across the country from those who knew him personally and those who were touched by his words. His death reignited conversations about unity, political violence, and the soul of America. But for many, it also reminded us of something much deeper, that life itself is sacred. And even though many felt that way, a heartbreaking thing began to unfold. You see, instead of mourning, or at least showing respect for the passing of another human being, many chose to mock. And that's what prompted me to share this story, because beyond the arguments and labels, Charlie Kirk was still a person, a soul created by God. And after researching for this video, I won't pretend to know everything that he's ever said, but what I discovered honestly surprised me. Because before all this happened, the only thing I really knew about Charlie was what he looked like, and that many people saw him as a racist, woman-hating Nazi. But after actually listening to his full-length videos and hearing what he said in context, I found myself scratching my head. Now, there are one or two things that he said that I might have worded differently, because we live in such a divided world, a world shaped by algorithms that train us to put people into boxes and judge them instantly, instead of truly listening, thinking, and making an honest judgment afterwards. And that's really what happened with Charlie. Clips of his videos taken out of context were pushed into the world, and because he talked about controversial topics, it became easy to launch a smear campaign against him. But despite all of that, his understanding of scripture, his conviction about truth, from what I heard, were biblically sound. And that reminded me of something powerful. It's not politics or people that truly divide us. It's the enemy of our souls and our own sinful nature. Jesus said, they will hate you because of my name. Because when we're unapologetically confronted by the words of Jesus, they force us to see ourselves for who we really are, sinners. Because words have power, which is why we have to be careful about what we are listening to on a daily basis. And social media is an endless well of information. It can either draw us closer to God or lead us astray for demonic purposes. And as Christians, we must always remember who we stand for. And I want to take a moment to send my heartfelt condolences and prayers to Charlie's wife and children, his family, friends, and everyone who actually knew him, because this was a tragedy that should have never taken place. If you like this video and channel, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and until next time, be blessed.